I made $200,000 from one client, and I'm gonna show you exactly how we did it, because most content agency owners and videographers are thinking the problem is their leads. You're not getting enough clients, so you do more outreach. You maybe try and run an ad, you post more content, but that's not the problem. The problem is the clients you already have keep leaving. So every 90 days, you're back to zero. And the reason they leave has nothing to do with your pricing. It has nothing to do with your camera, your videos. It's because you're just delivering content. You're not actually providing a result that they can see. The results fucking matter. And so think about it like this. Think about it like a leaking bucket. You keep pouring water in the top, trying to get new clients, maybe trying to get new leads, but there's a leak at the bottom. It's dripping at the bottom. You're not short on the water. You're short on a bucket that holds the water. That's what this video is about. Not getting more clients, fixing the holes in the bucket. And so I'm gonna walk you through the exact 4-step delivery system that took one of our clients in our content agency from an initial $10,000 offer that we charged when we first met to making over $200,000 from this one client. So this is the exact 4-step system that I've used and what I like to call the delivery flywheel. And I wanna run you through exactly what we've done for our clients in order to make over $200,000 from a single client. Most people make that in a whole year from 10 clients. We've done that from a single client. And it really comes down to these 4 steps: delivering results, reporting it, upselling and cross-selling, and then collecting the proof and testimonials to basically start the cycle again from the beginning. So we'll get into that in a sec, but I wanna start from the top, which is delivering the results. Because the thing is, most conversations that I used to begin with was always about the deliverable. And this is the thing that most people in this industry are getting wrong. They are starting the conversation every single time with the deliverable. You've probably heard so many people talk about providing 8 reels for $1,000. That's not the conversation you want to be having. My business partner closed a $3,000 deal in the DMs the other day, and we offered 1 reel, and the guy didn't even ask what content we were creating, simply because it's the result we are bringing, not the content we're creating. So this is what some conversations look like that we've had with our past clients that actually have brought a return for their business. So start conversations like this. The strategy conversation. Ask them what success looks like in 90 days. Ask them what's their highest ROI offer right now. Where are their leads coming from right now? What are your clients asking you most often? Have you tried content before? What's happened? The way I like to see this is when you ask these sort of questions, for example, what's your highest ROI offer? That is a great way to start your content system for them, because when you can pinpoint their highest ROI offer and then use that messaging in their content, they're gonna get a bigger return because you're promoting that actively on their Instagram, on their YouTube, whatever the platform may be. But that's extremely important. So really pay close attention to this part, because when you're actually getting their messaging out there, you wanna be pushing their highest offer. If they've got an offer that's 10, 15, 20 grand, you wanna get that in front of as many people as possible, their potential clients. That's where you need to begin. Where are their leads coming from right now? Think about it like that. If they're getting leads from fucking all over the place, we really need to position this in the way that organic content will be the biggest lever for them to pull. Maybe they're having some success with ads, so maybe the organic can be a good base for their ads to run on top of. If you start conversations like this, it actually brings way more of a return, and you're speaking in results language. You're not speaking in deliverables, which is extremely important. So once you understand your clients so well and ask these sort of questions, then it comes down to the content you build around that goal. So every piece of content should serve a specific outcome, whether that be lead gen, brand awareness, sales, not just content. So I don't know how you've been structuring your videos in the past, but most of the time what I've seen is people will just be putting content out there for the sake of putting content out there. But you need to understand what their social media looks like right now. If they've got a ton of ICP followers, ideal client profile followers in their audience, then you don't really need to be posting a lot of top of funnel content. You don't need to be posting all the viral content. You can be posting way more client interviews, client testimonials. All of that is just gonna build and stack trust with their current audience to get them to buy. These are the things you haven't been thinking about, simply because you've only been thinking about how to create a video that looks good and feels good on their Instagram account. Filming videos of a restaurant, filming videos of a gym, filming videos of of a business, it doesn't mean anything if there are no results. So when you understand their content so well and what their audience actually is right now, that's what's gonna get the return. So you're delivering results. Now, I'm not gonna break this down too much, but this is what the system would look like when you've actually got them coming in the door and you're creating the content. Because to deliver results, you need to understand social media and the importance of each level of content. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. So this is what I've done with one of my clients, Jai. He helps and services barbers who want to grow and scale their personal brands. And he posts 3 specific types of content for his clients and what I actually taught him inside of our program. 3 reels: the call out reel, the social proof reel, and the mechanism reel. So what these look like are something like this: a video that names exactly what your ICP is experiencing right now. So these are pieces of content that you could post for your clients to get engagement. This video alone got Jai over 200 inbound leads, simply because he leveraged what I call the authority hijacking method. He used someone called Sam Rascals, who in his ICP's mind see as a hero figure. Sam Rascals is one of the most famous barbers. And guess who all the other smaller barbers look up to? They look up to Sam Rascals. So Jai did this strategically well and used Sam Rascals as the hero figure. He used some contrarian takes, he said things that are against the norm, and he used achievements in his reels to get people to think, shit, what is Jai actually speaking about that's different from everything else I've heard? Listen to that extremely closely. He uses a green screen and also a side angle to really just display and show his authority in the content. When he's going through this, when he's got the green screen, he's already using someone who's already viral. So he's not trying to rewrite the script. This is the script. Sam Rascals is the guy. So that's already a pattern interrupt in itself. As soon as someone sees his face, it clicks. I know Sam Rascals, I'm gonna watch this video. And that's why this reel alone got 233,000 views and over 200 inbound potential clients in his DMs, and actually generated him over $10,000 from this one reel alone. So why wouldn't you rip it again? These are the things you need to look at. The social proof reel. Now this is more of a bottom of funnel piece of content, but when done right, this attracts an insane amount of buyers. The way I like to do this is to sit down with your current clients. So for example, me as the content strategist, I would sit down with my clients, whether they film it or if I'm doing more of a done for you service, I would get my clients to sit down with their best client and get them to do a client interview. And so it looks something like this. They sit down, talk about the transformation they followed. That is extremely important. If they talk about one thing, Jai's client here spoke about the transformation and how it felt to become an authority as a barber in the space, one of the biggest barbers in his city. Now, being a barber, that's extremely important to them. So it's very crucial that you understand what your client's ICP's worldview looks like. Now, I love when there's a side angle for this as well, having them both sit side by side and actually having them converse with one another. It's always better in person. If you can't get them in person, a call is fine, but when you can actually sit down and get your clients to be with their other clients in person and talk about the transformation, it is crazy proof. Like, it stacks so much credibility, and this is something that will get an insane return for your content, for your clients. Okay, the mechanism reel. This is the third. We want to break down the actual mechanism that your clients use. Because if you don't break down some sort of mechanism or different strategy that they use, they blend in, they look the same as their competitors, which we don't want. So what Jai did here was a technical breakdown. He actually broke down how his unique mechanism is different from everyone else's in the market by using data-driven results and actual numbers, because that is extremely important when you're actually breaking it down in numbers and breaking it down in a data-driven way. It's insane. It gets people to actually send you messages autonomously, which is what you want. When you have someone reaching out to you instead of you reaching out to them, they feel way more inclined to buy. Think about the last time you got someone who actually DM'd you. You didn't respond. You probably didn't respond. It was probably a cold DM who was someone who was trying to pitch you something. Your barrier just goes straight up. But when you can break down a process so well, you will have people DMing you like crazy. So these stack proof. This stacks trust And this gets a larger audience to actually watch your content, which is so important. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. The 3 pieces of content you need to be posting in order to actually get an engaged and an audience that will buy from you and your clients. So that's step number 1. You need to deliver results for your clients. If you can't do that, this is why your clients are going to churn. Simply because they're not seeing any sort of results. So why do you expect them to stay with you for longer than 90 days? You're not actually bringing them any sort of revenue. They wouldn't stay, they were never going to stay anyway. So don't complain when they leave after 90 days. All right, now we go from results down to actually reporting it back. You want to have a constant feedback loop. The way I like to see this is when you get a result, you need to be almost more excited than the client themselves. And this is exactly how I break it down. And I love this part because no one in the industry does this. I've always done this with my clients and they've just reacted in an insane reaction. And the way I've done this is with a Loom walkthrough. So it looks something like this. I will go in and break down the analytics of a recent piece of content. Maybe they've put out 5, 7, however many pieces of content, and something has had maybe some more engagement than the other pieces of content. What I like to do is go down and actually break down what's worked so far, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and how we're actually going to implement new things moving forward. When you can actually show and demonstrate your expertise to your clients, that reaffirms that feedback loop. They're thinking to themselves, yep, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. Let's do this, let's do that. Perfect. Let's keep going forward. Let's keep moving with this guy. Especially in the beginning, if they're a new client, this is so important. Something else that I also like to break down, if they've got an insane amount of leads from a piece of content, I will send them screenshots and I'll go, bro, look at this. Depending on what the client's relationship's like, have a look at this, John. We just got some insane amount of leads coming in the door. This is great. And then that's when upsell opportunities come through, but we'll touch on that in a second. Screenshots of content performance, even sending them DMs, inquiries attributed to your content. Even just a 1-line summary, sending them a text. Here's what your content did this month. It's the small things like this that no one in the industry does. You create the content, you go home, you film it, you edit it. That's it, nothing happens and everything just keeps going on. But this is the exact reason why your clients are leaving. And that's what we don't want. We want your clients to stay on, like my clients have, for 2 years, paying me over $200,000. I bet you haven't had a client pay you that in a lifetime. And that's what I want you to achieve from one client. Because it's not as hard as what you may think. When you can provide a result over an extended period of time, tell me why they would leave. Tell me that. Ask that to yourself right now. Why would your clients leave? If you keep bringing revenue into their business and helping them with their content strategies, why would they leave you? Reporting it back. Looms, text messages, it's so important. Now, they're gonna have more of a budget. You're bringing in more money, you're getting results. So what do we do now? And what do we do to have clients stay on for 2 years? To have clients stay on for a year? This is what we do. We upsell and we cross-sell. Because you may have pitched a $5,000, $10,000 offer in the beginning, which is okay, that's good. You've got them in the door. They're introduced to you, your world, your business. But now that you've got the results, how are we gonna keep bringing an insane service to them? Upselling and cross-selling. Now there's 2 ways I like to do this, and I'm gonna break this down into 2 different systems, which is the done for you system and the done with you system. So just to clarify, the done for you system is when you're actually filming content for your clients. You're there, or maybe you've got a shooter who's there and they're filming content for your clients. The done with you system is when you're actually consulting them on the content strategies rather than the content themselves. You've got the knowledge and the client is filming the videos. That's the difference. This one's obviously more high ticket. This one can still be high ticket, depending on how you obviously phrase it. But this is exactly what these 2 look like. The done for you system. And this is how we can utilize upsells and cross sells to make way more money from your clients with an ongoing relationship. So if you've got one shoot that you've booked in, maybe you've done a hero video to begin with, maybe you've got a full brand relaunch, whatever it may be. You can turn one shoot into more content. So maybe let's just use a hero video for example. You've got a website video going up for them and maybe 6 reels. What I would do from there is break that down even further, because maybe you've got some missed content that you haven't actually utilized. What I would do is go through and tell them, I've got some content here that I actually haven't utilized and I would hate for it to go to waste. I would love to put together an extra 3 reels at $190, $290, $490, whatever it may be. Honestly, we've charged anywhere up to $3,000 for a single reel. So it depends on how well you actually feel you can see this reel bring you a return for your client. But if you can see it'll bring an insane return, that's when these upsell opportunities come in. Because just from some extra footage that you weren't even going to use, that could put an extra $3,000, $4,000 into your pocket at a format they didn't ask for. Maybe you got some photos, or maybe you didn't, but you could make a carousel post for them. Maybe you could create 3 carousels for them for the week. That's an extra 3 carousels that they didn't have. That would be so beneficial for their content strategy, because carousels build an insane amount of trust. Do something extra for free and then charge for it next time, because it gives that teaser. Maybe you film a client interview for them, and they've got a client in their shop. They're running a business, let's say like a car dealership. They've got a car, someone just bought a car. Get them in the front of the camera, talk about the experience they had. And then the next time they want that again, that's when you can charge $1,500, $3,000, because you've already done it. And now they actually can see the benefit of that piece of content that they want to do it again. But obviously you can't keep doing the service over and over again for free. So then you charge for it. Offer the thing they just said they need. Mate, what I've really needed to look for is, I've got no time to actually spend on replying to customers in the DMs. I don't know what to do. Okay, perfect. Understand more about ManyChat and automations, and you can completely automate the entire DM process. These are the things no one's thinking about, because the reason you are stuck is simply because you're selling videos. You are solely stuck selling videos, and you're not understanding that that's only a small piece of the pie. You're running a marketing agency technically, because you are helping them grow their business with content. What also comes alongside that? DMs come alongside that. And that's another cross-sell opportunity for you. Because when you can automate that process, that can put an extra $2,000 in monthly recurring revenue back into your pocket, because you need to make sure that all their DMs are handled. Remember that. And now pitch the next project before this one ends. So maybe you've only got a 3-month retainer package locked in with them. Talk about what they're doing. Talk about the results you're providing and report it back to them. Mate, I'd hate for this 3 months to come to an end and not have more content coming in the door. Or mate, think about the next 5 months after this. We can't just stop here. We need to keep going, because you can already see some results were bought for this client. We even got Johnny to come in the door and buy a car, whatever the business may be. But throw the results back at them. Talk to them and brag about what you've actually been able to provide, because it gets their dopamine levels up. It gets them excited about what's to come, what's in the future, and it'll get them to reinvest back into you and your services. Once again, that's such a big strategy that we use for our client that we generated $200,000 from, simply because there were so many different opportunities and ways that we could upsell. And that was one of them. That was one that worked extremely well. Now, maybe you're working with clients that you aren't filming for, and you're running more of the done with you model. Obviously, as I teach with everyone inside my program, we run both of these simultaneously, but I've got one of my clients, Jai, who is solely just running the done with you model for barbers, working with barbers all over the world and still making over $20,000 a month, simply because he understands that the content system is way more important than the actual understanding on how to shoot a video. Remember that. Anyone can shoot a video, but not anyone actually understands and has the knowledge to consult someone on the content strategy to grow a business. So what else could Jai upsell here? Well, Jai's offer is a 3-month program to help them scale up their personal brand for a barber. So he could offer one-on-one access over an extended period of time. It's only going for 3 months. Mate, this 3 months going to come to an end, and I can already see the growth we've taken over these last 3 months. It would honestly be very difficult for you to keep scaling if we weren't working together. How would it sound if we worked for another 9 months for X price? Something along the lines of that would work extremely well. simply because they've seen that they need your help. And if you go, it's almost like losing a piece of that pie. They need you. They need you in the operation. They need you to actually fill that system in the business. And it's easy for them. When they've got the content systems handed to them, when they've got the scripts coming in the door every single week, why would they want to let go of that? That's such a crucial part to play. Social media management. You know, maybe they're struggling to post the content. Okay, perfect. You can run their socials. And these can definitely be intertwined with each other. Like even something like the DM automations, because these barbers might have so many different customers coming into their DMs and people are saying, you know, can I book you for Thursday? Can I do this? Can I do that? Manage their socials, set up DM automations. And maybe you've offered just social media strategies for Instagram in the beginning. Well, an upsell opportunity would be to say, mate, look, I know I've got so many clients coming in the door through Instagram, but we are still leaving so much more money on the table without implementing YouTube content. And so that's when we can come back up to here, back up to, we'll speak about that in a second, but implementing YouTube content for their business and implementing more long form stuff. A piece of content like this, the social proof reel, sitting down with their clients, because that as a long form asset is so valuable when you can sit down with your clients for 30 minutes and speak about their results. But they wouldn't know how to do that because they've never used YouTube before. They don't know what to do. They just know how to cut hair. And this is exactly how we get results like this. 20K client for the year for Jai. The client didn't start at 20K, but he signed on for 20K. 3K per month, room to go up to 5K package later. And that's exactly what Serge did only the other day. He went from 3 to 5K simply because he upsold and he cross-sold. There is so many more opportunities to leverage your current clients. You don't need more clients. You just need these opportunities, which you didn't know. You didn't even know existed. Now that you're upselling and cross-selling with your current clients, if you're sitting at around $10,000 to $15,000 a month with your current business, this should at least get you up to $25,000 to $40,000 a month from these upsells and cross-sells alone from your current clients. And now, once we do this, we need to feed it all back in. Proof and testimonials. And so this is exactly how I do this, to basically go back to the start, continue this feedback loop, and have more clients coming in the door and going through this whole process again. This is probably one of the most important parts, so pay really close attention to this. What I like to do as soon as my clients have got an insane win, or maybe they've grown an insane amount of revenue over a specific period of time, that's when you get them to sit down and film a video like this. Film a reel where you sit down with your client and talk about the process you followed. What my client Nelson did was he got one of his real estate agent clients to just speak to the camera, talk about her experience, talk about how much she was able to generate from a specific type of property. Like, Nelson generated her so much money. So why would other real estate agents not want to sign up with Nelson? And so start banking all of these. That's what I've done with my results as well. 3 in a row, all as a playlist. There was way more, but I screenshotted 3. But when you can just build all these trust assets, clients aren't going to leave. Simply because you have built so much proof, so much trust, and so much authority in the space that your clients don't have any other choice but to stick around with you. You're just reaffirming that feedback loop. And so when I see people that I've worked with, or if I'm going to buy into something, I look at the testimonials and I see how many case studies they've got. And that really is a massive buy-in factor to me. And so when you can do this for not only you, but also creating these pieces of content for your clients as well, it just reaffirms the feedback loop. It goes from here, then you go back to delivering the results, and a new client comes in, you build the content around that, and it's the same pattern every single time. It's repeatable. You're not trying to build the plane while the client's coming in and you're trying to build it. You're trying to fly the plane. You don't want to be building it over and over and over again. You want to make sure this system is so dialed in that every client that comes in the door is the exact same. There's a specific roadmap they follow and they go through it from A to B to C. That's what you need to do. Because right now, every client's coming in the door, and it's different. You've got one package here, you're doing a video over here, the price is different over here. It's so complicated. It's so confusing, and that's why clients leave and don't say yes to you, simply because a confused mind says no. And don't just take this from me. Take this from the clients that I have literally worked with in the past. Take this from Nelson, because he generated over $51,000 in a month from his content agency working with real estate agents. He started together at $5K a month. He scaled in 35 days and made $15K in 1 week and did hit his goal of $51,000 in a single month. Now he's flying in business class, and he just moved to Thailand to run his business. This process isn't luck. This is exactly what Jai did as well. Obviously, he's not even shooting the content. Jai started at $0 a month for me. He's now sitting at around $25,000 a month, and he niched down to barbers' personal brands and scaling them with content systems. That's such a niche market, but he is dominating it. The thing is, what I used to do was just shoot content for anyone. But like I said, there was no system, it wasn't repeatable, and I was doing different shit every single time a client came in the door. Now also take Mark. He's in the real estate market, and he is also focusing on real estate agent personal brands. He started at $2K a month. He just closed a 10 grand offer. His 10 grand offer, simply because he understands that personal brands for real estate agents is one of the most important things that they can possibly build right now. So there is big pain points. That's such a good client acquisition channel for real estate agents alone. So why would they not try and find someone like Mark to scale? And that's exactly what he's doing. And so don't just take this information from me. My clients are literally doing this right now. They were shooting videos. Now they're providing outcomes and helping clients scale their businesses through content systems using this exact same loop. If you want a hand or you want me to point you in any sort of direction, send me a message on Instagram, because I want to be able to help every single one of you out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can use this to make a fuck ton of money.